Hello there, thank you for tuning in once again. I'm Michael and I'm your host. Joining me today is a young man who has taken the UK praise and worship scene by storm. He knows exactly how to blend contemporary worship and his African roots. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Minister Sonnie Badu.
Living water, invincible. You are invincible.
Hey guys, welcome back. Minister Sonnie Badu, how you doing, sir?
I'm okay, Mike.
Great for you to join me on the one-to-one show, man.
It's an honor.
Oh my gosh, and you're like all over the place now, man. You're in America today and whatever tomorrow, you're in Ghana next week, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Enjoying the traveling, but it's all by God's grace.
Trying to be humble, you know, just like calming down and just like.
Well,
but how's it all coming together though? Because I see you're doing some really good stuff.
It's going on really well. I mean, God gave me the vision of going to different nations and leading the nation into a time of worship. And so we started early this year, and it's amazing how you get phone calls from different countries, and they want to put together maybe a group of youths for me to lead them into worship. So we've got Italy worships with Sonnie Badu, Ghana worships with Sonnie Badu, Nigeria worships with Sonnie Badu, Amsterdam, Germany, and
You need to take me with you, bruv.
no problem. No problem.
It's good stuff, but I'm really excited how God is raising, you know, great young people, great young men of God, you know, in this generation, because we need it, don't we? I mean, we're living in a time where we need the people of God to stand up, you know, and to stand up and stand out, you know, for that matter. I found out something about you. I found out you had no interest whatsoever in music. You wanted to do football. How did you end up where you are now?
Well, I guess when God created us, He doesn't just give us only one ability. He gives you several abilities, and yes, I was determined to become a professional footballer.
Okay.
I mean, my father was a footballer as well,
Okay.
as well as a musician, and
Right.
in school I was in the football team and everything, but I guess God needed me more as a worshiper than a footballer.
Right.
I don't think we'll be right here if I was a footballer.
Right.
Nah, I'll
Probably not.
no way. But I'm glad I made this decision. Yeah.
It's good because everyone who listens to your album is gonna be able to tell that there is something. I like the way you're able to combine, you know, your African roots with the contemporary music of today. I mean, who are some of your inspirations, and how did you come about with this sound that you've got today?
To be honest with you, when God gave me the vision, He also told me I should make sure I get the best of both worlds. So I had to meet the likes of Kwame Yeboah, Isaac Aye, Noel Robinson. I mean, you'd be amazed the first time Kwame heard me sing, not actually the first time, but when he said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "I was ready." He made me sing, and he told me, "You're not ready. Go get a vocal trainer and come back in 3 months." I mean, this is a young guy ready to come out with an album, and your producer says you're not ready. And there's some of the rhythms that I wanted that he is like, no, it's not gonna work. Well, he tried working around what I wanted, but you know, sometimes we get very personal with our stuff, and that's not what is needed.
Not necessarily.
And I was very open to their suggestion as well, and I'm glad I did, because the album is making waves by God's grace.
let it fall on me. Open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Ooh, ooh, hey, ooh, hey, hey. Somebody help me sing it, yeah. Baba, we're in your presence. Let it rain. Oh, your rain. Let it fall on me. We're in your presence. Let it rain. Oh, your rain. Let it fall on me. Open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me. Open the floodgates in abundance and cause your rain to fall on me, Baba.
Yeah, I'm loving it. You keep talking about when God said this and when God said that. I want to find out, what was it like? Because for someone to be on your way to, to play for Chelsea and then just to get the call from God, just to, drop the football and do music. I mean, what was that?
Michael, it wasn't easy, and it didn't. The scenario is not like, oh yeah, and God whispered in your ear. God will knock on your door, and it gets to a time when you don't listen. He now causes something really terrible to happen to you, and that's when he now comes back and says, "Would you do it?" Oh no, it was in secondary school when I used to sing secular as well, like in school, and play football as well, and I was a cadet officer, military officer as well, and we had a national program, and you have to exchange salutes and everything, and it got to my turn, and the next minute I realized I was in the hospital.
Oh wow!
Because can you imagine at the stadium you have the president, coming to visit, the state that we were in, and you taking a salute and bang, you just collapse. And that's it. And apparently I really, really dropped, and people thought I was dead. Got to the hospital, another complication started where they thought I was asthmatic. So they now injected me wrongly, and then they said, no, I've got malaria parasite. They gave me that injection as well. And so I quite remember I was left crippled on the bed as well. And one thing I remember was there was a patient who was in where we were, and that patient died. And I remember telling my friends, you need to get me out of here. I don't really want to be here. They took me to school, and I realized it was getting worse. So we asked permission to go back to Accra, which is the city where I come from, and the teacher said he wouldn't allow me to go. And if I went, they would suspend me from school, but I knew I was dying. So I had to beg my friend to take me. Well, to cut a long story short, when we got there. My father saw me and he was in tears. He was holding a glass of water and he dropped the glass of water because that sickness or that infection that I had killed a doctor who was his friend. And so if a doctor has died of that infection, and what happens is phlegm comes on your throat and it swells up and you can't really breathe.
Right.
I was taken to the hospital and the doctor said that he's got 2 hours to live. And I am my mother's only son. You can imagine the doctor telling her that he has 2 hours to live. That was the first and last time they put about 6 drips on me. Mom sat by me, Dad sat by me. You could look at their face and they had even given up on you.
Yeah.
And I remember then I said to God, if you spare my life, then I will serve you. This voice would not be used for any other thing but for you. And suddenly I felt like a shadow over me, and the doctor came after half an hour and he's like, wow, he's making a good recovery. And I stayed in the hospital for like 4 days, but everything just vanished, and that's how I now renewed my contract, should I say, with God. Yeah.
Your name is Jehovah. Your name is Elohim. At the mention of your name, every knee must bow. At the mention of your name, every tongue shall confess that you are the covenant-keeping God. There is no one like you. Everybody say, covenant. There is no one like you. Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega. Nobody like you. There is no one like you. God of Abraham, you are the God of Isaac. You are the God of Jacob. God of Elijah. My God. You answer by fire. You are the God of Daniel. You are my covenant-keeping God. There is no one like you. Somebody help me say, covenant-keeping God. Nobody. There is no one. Nobody like you. No. Alpha and Omega.
are always, because we've been talking, man, and you're just deep. You're just filling me with all these deep revelations and things like that. And I'm thinking, oh Lord, but your ministry is one that is very interesting because not only do you just sing and lead worship and invite the presence of God into an environment, but what you do is this is accompanied by so many miracles and the deaf hearing and all this kind of things. Now, why do you think there is such a demonstration of God's power with your ministry, but that is not so evident? It's not so common with other people.
It's two things. I did not negotiate for this bit because when God appointed me, He just placed it in me.
Right.
The second thing is after God has placed it in you, you have to work hard as well. What's the hard work?
Right.
Intense prayer, researching, finding out what this whole worship thing is about. You could be a gifted footballer, but if you don't rehearse, you don't get better.
That's right.
The reason why miracles are accompany the ministry is because I have gone into a covenant with God, and I always periodically go into covenants with God that now I'm tired of people dropping off. I'm tired of people crying. This is what I want to see. And it doesn't come easy because every step, every level has its own challenge.
Yeah, of course.
And God doesn't tell you what the challenges will be because He knows if He tells you
the results,
you're going to tell Him, I'll see you later.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes God shows you your future, but He doesn't show you the path you're going to go through.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I am extremely determined. And I know He always brings me too far to leave me.
Right.
So even if I get homeless, I know that He will give me a safer home.
Yeah.
For that trust alone, I go out 100%, knowing that Elohim is backing me.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think when you boast and you have confidence in God, He now discharges His angels to move on your behalf. A friend of mine once said something to me that was quite deep. He said, "Sonny, it feels like you carry the ark of God." And he didn't know that he was ministering to me. After he said that, I sat down and I said, "God, then even if I wasn't carrying it, I want to literally carry your ark so that when I get anywhere, any place, people would know that I am truly carrying you." And it's been an interesting journey.
It sure has. I mean, sitting from the spectator standpoint, me just sitting back and watching, see Sonnie Badu here, see Sonnie Badu there, it's like, okay.
Even meeting you is an honor.
Me meeting you is an honor.
No, Michael.
Oh, come on.
It's the other way around.
It's great. It's great to have you on here.
Daddy, I just want to take a little time out and worship you. I want to join in with the angels and do what they do in heaven. Oh, hail the power of Jesus' name. Let angels prostrate fall. Let angels prostrate fall. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown Him. you clothe him and crown him Lord of all.
You've got 2 books out actually. You've got The Worshipper's Cry, which I call a mini book.
Right.
And then you've got How to Activate Your Miracle
Miracles
During
During
Worship.
Worship.
You've got 2 DVDs out as well, which is Africa Worships and Ignite My Fire, which I haven't
Yeah.
got with me at the moment. Tell us a little bit about each of these resources. You know, tell us about the album, the whole journey, and you know the whole production process.
It took me 2 years to finally come out with this album, and it was 2 tiring years. When God calls you, sometimes he needs to separate you.
Yeah.
When you're on that journey,
I think he always needs
yeah.
to separate you.
you're gonna lose friends. You're gonna make new ones. You would lose them too.
Yeah.
If they don't see where you're going. This album is a testimony on its own, because I lost so many stuff. I lost my properties. I lost my businesses. But I was so determined to finish it. And now the testimonies that I keep hearing on daily basis, people rising up from wheelchair after listening to some of the songs, people's debts getting cancelled after listening to some of the songs. A woman was barren for a long time, and she decided that, you know what, God, you're covenant-keeping God. She said she heard God's voice. Go and put covenant-keeping God. And she said physically she saw the hand of God enter her stomach and take a snake out of her stomach. Recently, another woman was going to be operated on fibroid. She had fibroid, and she said, God, if you've used this album to save someone, then you can use it to save me. I don't want to go to the hospital. Guess what? She put the CD in, and within 15 minutes, she said, the fibroid went out. A lady was listening to the first track, He That Dwelleth, and she knocked someone down. The car was written off, but the person did not break a bone. Countless. A woman was cancer-free after covenant-keeping God being sang. And I now sit down and I'm like, God, it was worth it. The journey was truly worth it. When you get to the book 2, I've actually written 9 books.
Oh, wow.
But
I only have 2 of them here.
well, God keeps, he's the only one that inspires me. So he tells me when to bring what, at what season.
Right, of course.
So how to activate your miracle during worship was birthed out of God showing me what happens when we lift up worship. And this book will show you how to even be sensitive to the atmosphere, how to get to a place and know that this is truly God or this is not God. It's very, very deep, and the testimonies I've had from that book alone is mind-blowing. The Worshipper's Cry is my first project and is my baby, because I told God that, yes, I love all the psalms that David has written to you, but I want to write my own psalms to you. You know,
your also, personal expression.
Absolutely. I also tell him that when I go to heaven, God, I want to be the 25th elder.
Okay.
You know, the 24 elders. I'm like, I want to be the 25th.
You don't ask for much, do you?
You know, so.
You just need to get your hands on these resources. Can people get them from your website?
Yeah, from my website.
That's sonniebadu.com.
.co.uk.
.co.uk is going to be up on the screen.
And you can also get it from iTunes, Amazon. Just Google Sonnie Badu and you find it anywhere.
You'll find it, because these are some great stuff. Tell us a little bit about DVDs quickly. And then
well, God, for the Africa worship with Sonnie Badu, God said every year, bring my children from Africa, bring them all together and learn every song from every nation and lift up worship so I may come and fellowship with my children. And it was amazing how this one came about. God said, call all the high commissioners, call them, bring them together. And this one was birthed out of the...
Because I saw some familiar faces when I was watching the DVD.
Yeah, the Ghana High Commission, the Nigerian High Commission. And this one, we dedicated it to Kenya.
Wow, okay.
When the war came and all of that, and believe you me, someone said that right after we finished the concert, that confusion began to cease because worship was lifted up that day.
It's great. It's great.
The
It's
altar
great.
of worship was lifted
Yeah.
up. So that's about that. And then the Ignite My Fire DVD as well is a DVD on worship, and you need to get a copy.
You just go to sonniebadu.co.uk and you need to get Sonnie. You need to come back on 1-to-1, man. There isn't enough time to take us all in one go. But thank you so much for stopping by. You're always welcome, bruv. You're always welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. See you same time next week. God bless you.
The lily of the valley, the soon and coming King, Alpha and Omega, Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I love you, Lord, for you are my beginning and you are my end. So I love you.
I love you for you are Alpha.
I love you.